All right, welcome back.
Welcome back to the Cursed LP. We had some errors. I interrupted Travis again. Sorry. Go ahead.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up. Yeah, my internet decided to die, so I said screw it, deleted the audio, and we're restarting this episode over. Anyway, Trigun Comics.
Yeah, that just follows the adventures of the characters on Planet Gunsmoke afterwards. I'm assuming it's a bunch of little one-off stories, which work well in Trigun. Most of Trigun is little one-off stories.
Kind of like Cowboy Bebop.
Kinda.
Because isn't that a bunch of one-shots? Well, not really one-shots, but...
Yeah, okay, so...
Like self-contained stories for the most part, I guess? Yeah. I've never seen Cowboy Bebop,
Okay.
so I could
I can explain it. The main difference between Trigun and Bebop is that from the beginning you know exactly what kind of person Spike is. Spike is your Han Solo gangster bounty hunter type, you know?
Yeah.
He's your classic cowboy, man with no name, that kind of thing. Vash the Stampede, main character of Trigun, is advertised in all the promotional material and the opening to be this badass gunslinger. Like he's constantly shown cloaked in shadow with these reflective glowy glasses with this huge handgun he carries around. And first episode we see him in, he is this lecherous goofball who keeps stealing food and can't handle himself in a fight, constantly runs away. He's acting like a cartoon character in an anime that's somewhat grounded, you know?
Yeah.
He's noodling throughout the environment and no one knows what's up with him. And the main characters are these insurance agents for this planet. Because basically the idea of Trigun is civilization has expanded throughout the galaxy, and this is just one part of humanity that has found its way to this old desert planet that they're struggling to make livable, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of turned into an Old West scenario using whatever technology they can get their hands on to try to eke out a living. It's like the new frontier.
Okay.
And you have these two insurance agents who are basically trying to hunt down Vash, not really hunt him down and kill him, but basically hunt him down and negotiate an end to his bullshit, because apparently wherever Vash goes, entire cities get wiped out. It's just like, oh, it looks like a nuke went off, killing and injuring everyone inside this city. And the only thing that we know is that this guy is to blame. So we gotta go find him. And when they find him, he's a goofball. So they're basically just pursuing Vash. Every episode is them pursuing Vash to a new location where he's being a goofball and they have no idea what's up with him. And sure enough, he manages to accidentally help people wherever he goes.
Nice.
So it's one continuous story, unlike Cowboy Bebop, which might as well be a bunch of little stories and filler, you know? Kind of like something in Kingdom Hearts here. Like a lot of these Disney worlds are kind of filler. Until we get to a few main worlds, unlike Bebop, in which you really only need to watch 5 episodes and you get the entire series and the entire story. Most of the episodes in Bebop are filler.
Okay.
However, in Trigun, every episode develops the characters a little bit more, so it's more like an American TV show in that way, you know?
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, you can't really call any of Star Trek filler. Every episode develops a little bit of the crew or the world a bit more to help you get a better understanding of the galaxy that the show's all about.
Very true, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, are those two people pursuing the equivalent to Jesse and James then?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, they're very civilized girls.
Okay.
Like they're 2 girls. One's a huge girl who uses a Gatling gun.
Nice.
She's very kind, very soft-hearted. A lot of my favorite episodes are when it's doing the whole like berserk thing where you have like the creepy lecherous guys walking up on the girl. And it kind of starts off that way. It's like, oh, you're in the bar, it's seedy and gross, and these 2 creepy guys just start walking up on the girl, and you're like, uh-oh, are these guys going to try to do something with these 2 girls? And then Vash is going to show up and save the day? Nope. They grab at what they think is a bra strap. It causes her strap holding her Gatling gun to come undone. Gatling gun falls out of her dress, and the 2 dudes just take off running. And she's just like, Meryl, you got to get that strap fixed. It's like, I know.
That's hilarious.
I adore Trigun. And also the younger girl's more hot-headed, or the older lady's more hot-headed, uses 2 M1911s. And she's kind of the brains
behind
the operation. Like, they both can fight. They both can kick ass if they need to. But most of what they do is talk because they're insurance agents, and they're the main characters of Trigun.
Yeah.
And so they're just following this lone gunman across the wastes, trying to find out what's up with him.
Did we start that? Because that sounds very familiar.
You watch the movie, which takes place in between a couple episodes. In which you saw some of what Vash gets up to. You also got to see the preacher Wolfwood, who is a traveling preacher. Wolfwood is. He brings his church with him everywhere he goes, and when he's doing confessions, he puts the little wooden steeple. He puts it on his head and opens the door. and he charges for each confession. He's a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
And his weapon is called the Cross Punisher, which is a giant cross he carries around that contains basically an LMG in disguise.
Nice.
Trigun loves its
we
guns.
watch that?
We watched one of the movies, which is
I know how long ago though. Do you remember?
I think it was last year.
I remember it super vividly, so I think it was more than a couple years ago now.
I remember I was kind of watching it, and I'm like, I didn't think you were interested. And then at one point, when I think it was when wow, fuck, that's not his name. Where Vash and Wolfwood were arguing about the ethics, like basically arguing about the ethics of their whole conversation. I heard you go, huh? It's like, oh, he's paying attention. Okay, cool. Or talking about how what Gasback's been up to in his entire motivation as a bank robber.
Yes, okay, that was what we watched then, because I do remember that. Wow, I can't believe I forgot all of that.
Oh, it's great. Trigun's awesome. It's man, so good, man. Like I don't know, it's weird because you go into it and it's so obviously old. Like it's so old-fashioned. The animation isn't great. Characters all look kind of weird. It just screams old anime, you know?
Yeah.
And then you watch it and it's like, it feels kind of like it's wasting your time for a while. You know, you're expecting this badass show about a gunslinger and it's just funny antics, and then it hits its stride. And it's one of those shows like Full Metal Alchemist, which renders what you thought was filler to be the most relevant shit in the world, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
It's like, oh, that all mattered. I just didn't know it yet. I didn't have the context to know that mattered. And now that I know, I now love those episodes.
Yes.
There's a bunch of really cool shit. Like there's a train robbery. It's like, oh man, like every episode's a new adventure.
That is on my list.
It's also one of those shows that, much like a lot of old anime, it gets suddenly brutal with no warning. Such as a character who has a grappling hook, who has the grappling mechanism reverse itself, and it causes his arm to telescope in on itself.
Jesus.
And it is, it's horrific.
That sounds awesome, actually.
It's great. Also, it's weird watching a Japanese show that knows and loves its firearms so much.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's not...
Me and Duck were watching the Madoka movie last night, and
yeah, Mammy with the flintlocks.
Yeah, the flintlocks, and then Homura's fucking Uzis. I was like, Jesus, I forgot how awesome this was to watch, because of how ridiculous it is.
Looks like I'm headed for the game.
Metal Gear is also really refreshing in that department because it's so obviously Japanese, but like all the ways that guns are used are super grounded.
Yeah.
Like you'll very rarely see characters doing guns akimbo because they actually hired old military otaku and veterans to come in and like offer advice on character designs and stuff.
That's cool.
The biggest example being in Metal Gear Solid 1, Snake is holding his gun upright like a spy.
Yeah.
Like barrel in the air. But every game after that, he's holding it down at an angle towards the ground.
Yeah.
The reason being is that's how you hold a pistol while you move, but you don't hold it up in the air. That's really stupid for some reason. I don't know. Also, I don't think you ever see Meryl use the Deagle again until 4, when that guy got fired and then court-martialed.
It's all yours.
The reason
Good luck, kid.
I can guess, I'm not sure why, but I can guess why you hold it low to the ground like that in front of you. I'm assuming it's just in case you misfire. That way it'll potentially go into the ground instead of like somewhere in the fucking sky. Potentially having a bullet rain down on you.
That bullet's coming back down at the same velocity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Other things that I like is, you know how like when you get caught in Metal Gear Solid 1, all the guards just charge you until you hide and then it goes away?
Yes.
Well, in Metal Gear Solid 2, they form up and they go room to room and they sweep and clear.
Yep.
Meaning it's really hard to get away from those guards because they work like real soldiers. They stopped doing that in 5, I believe, which is why that you're able to still be sneaky in that game. Because if those soldiers worked like real soldiers, you'd be caught in no time.
Yeah, that would make that game less viable stealth-wise.
Mm-hmm. I think 4 mostly keeps it together the same way. It's a bit like they care a lot. Like certain departments, they just say "fuck it," though. You know, you can tell where they just, man, the military advisor must have been really upset about this scene. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Trying to think of another anime that uses guns really cool.
I can think of other Japanese things, like Resident Evil. Obviously, there's someone on that team that really likes their guns.
Oh, yeah.
You play RE4 and it's like, oh, these reload animations are gorgeous.
Yes.
Well, that's because Resident Evil is made for Americans and for people who like American movies, you know?
Yep.
And like, what else? Besides Resident Evil?
Trying to think on the spot of something like that is kind of hard, because nothing's
Yeah.
coming to mind.
Well, I mean, there's a medieval equivalent, is in Berserk. Kentaro Miura obviously knows, specifically Berserk in the Souls games. Miura and Miyazaki, respectively, obviously know a lot about medieval weaponry and medieval fighting styles.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially with Berserk, because if you read the manga for the Golden Age arc, it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of over the top. And with each adaptation of the Golden Arc, it gets slightly more grounded. So you go from Golden Age arc in the beginning, which is like really over the top, just blind swinging, not a lot of cavalry, and then you move into the anime, a lot more precise, a lot more military tactics being used, guerrilla tactics and stuff. And then you watch the movies, and you have proper motion capture from swordsmen and stuff.
Cool.
Because huge chunks of that movie are in CG. So like you see Guts putting his armored hand on the blade of the sword to guide its point like a spear. You see him at one point grabbing the blade and swinging it like a club. You see him doing proper forms in kata rather than because in the I'm for sure it was in the manga too. You just see him kind of chopping downwards repeatedly.
Yes.
Well, now he does a proper thing where he'll swing and then follow through over his shoulder again and again to show how he's properly used the sword and knows how to use it. Griffith is where they show like their real knowledge of how to use those kind of blades, because Griffith uses a cutlass.
Yes.
So he uses it like a cutlass in the movie.
In the movie, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a scene in the manga where, during the fight with Guts and Griffith, like one of the first fights, Griffith just jumps up and starts walking on Guts' sword?
Yeah, when Guts swings the sword down and Griffith just parries it into the ground and then he stands on top of the blade.
Does that happen in the movie? Because I really love that scene.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, it's in the movie too.
Cool.
And it's where he bites the sword and shoves him back on his ass.
Yeah.
But the way the fight works in the movie which is great, is that when Guts swings the sword down in that final strike, Griffith parries it over his own shoulder and just sticks Guts in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, the fight goes to the ground and they just start beating the shit out of each other. It's, oh god, Berserk is great.
It's awesome. I love Berserk.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare.
Oh,
It's rare.
I need to read up to where we are.
Yeah. Read up to the boat. When he gets on the boat, put it down for a while, because it's going to be a while before we get any further than that. Because where it is right now, the story is immensely unsatisfying.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my recommendation. Because basically, there's this major ongoing arc that starts directly after the Golden Age arc, involving that world's equivalent to the Catholic and the Catholic Church and the Muslim Empire.
Okay.
Where you have basically Rome and basically the Crusades take off in the world of Berserk, and
Hell yeah.
up until the boat, you basically get to watch that conflict develop and see how Guts and Griffith and their people influence either side of the conflict.
Yeah.
Involving all the magical stuff that goes down in that conflict. It's fantastic. It gets, oh man, I love it.
How many chapters were released this year? So I think I read something about people being excited that 2 chapters were released this year or something.
Feels that way.
Yeah.
Last thing I remember is there was a big plot development involving one of the main characters, and then he cut away, and we haven't cut back yet.
Nice.
Funny, it's good that we're talking about Berserk while Cloud's on the screen. Fitting, actually.
Yeah.
Also, the reason why the sword's covered in bandages is to avoid getting a T rated. Because the bladed weapons that are shown to cut people are oftentimes result in T ratings. So they blunted his blade. Same thing with Xemnas' lightsabers. They're not lightsabers, they're clubs.
No, it's so Cloud never runs out of toilet paper. He can just wipe his ass on the sword. That's the real reason.
That's horrible.
I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I like the Buster Sword's look as it's all bandaged up.
I don't.
I don't think I do. What's your favorite sword in Final Fantasy VII?
I believe the last chapter, oh, here we are. 360.
You didn't even answer the question. What's your favorite sword upgrade for Cloud in Final Fantasy VII?
Ultimate weapon, of course.
Yeah, true. Duh. That's too easy, though.
Ask me about other characters and I can tell you I love the sniper rifle for Vincent. Because of the death blow materia.
Yeah.
And how you can get stupid damage numbers with that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this to myself. List of Berserk chapters. Get up on the Hydra's back! Contents, story arcs, Fantasia arc.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Volume 40, volumes. Oh yeah, episode's not yet in volume format. 360. Oh, I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna regret this so hard. Don't tell me what it's about. I don't even know where it is. Oh God! God damn it! No. One chapter has come out this year. God.
Better you than me.
Fuck, man.
Is there another chapter coming out this year or no?
I don't know. I didn't want to see that character laying in a bed. We've had one chapter this year so far. It came out in April.
Okay.
And I guess we've cut back to the thing. To be fair, it didn't spoil anything. It was just, I didn't want to know anything more. But now I know there's going to be a scene of that character laying in a bed.
I was going to ask something, but nah, I'm not going
Don't
to.
ask.
No, I was going to ask if, I can't
Also,
believe I forgot her name.
Yeah, don't ask about her. You don't spoil anything.
Does she stay brain dead? That's what I was gonna ask. Does she ever come unbrain dead or no?
1, I'm not telling you. 2, I'm not spoiling it for the viewer.
Fair.
Read Berserk. Everybody read Berserk. It's free.
No, it's not. Not
It's free to
legally.
me, damn it. It's free-gally.
I was looking through an image comments on Facebook for an anime or manga, and someone's like, "Hey, where can I stream this?" And I almost linked them to Kiss Anime.
Yeah. Do that good work.
But I'm like, nah. If they genuinely want it, they'll just Google anime online and find it. So,
You know. Never has a site that I've had to fight every few months been so utterly useful.
Kiss Anime.
Like, yeah, using Kiss Anime is a fucking battle. Like, you have to
fight it.
Because you have to install browser plugins to deal with their bullshit.
Just one. Well, 2.
Tamper Monkey,
Ad block and Tamper Monkey.
But you have to also install Tamper Monkey and find new scripts for Tamper Monkey.
I haven't had to change the script yet in Tamper Monkey for it.
Oh, I have.
I might
Maybe-
have a while ago, or I might have a while back when they changed like whatever they're using for anti-ad block, but that was it.
Yeah. God, I got really upset over that Berserk thing. It's not even that big a deal, too. It's just a character laying in a bed.
Yeah.
But knowing that character, I don't know, it isn't anything, really. I just didn't want to see anything. The fact that I saw something upset me.
No, that's completely fair. I feel that way about certain things too.
Yeah, I also love how Guts kind of... This is a bit of a spoiler, I guess, but Guts kind of forms his own Final Fantasy party.
Not really a spoiler. You kind of figure that that's gonna happen after the Golden Age.
Guts has some problems. Guts is a powerful anime character. There is some stuff he cannot deal with that he does not know how to deal with, and he loses too consistently.
Yeah.
Like the dude is a bitch when it comes to arrows and magic. Like if they ever had to fight a magical archer, Guts would just die. Luckily, he has characters that can counteract that. He has a party. It's like Final Fantasy. You have a party of different characters that do different things.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spect into Strength. Like, just
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
Strength, nothing magical or
Strength and
anything
endurance.
to deflect arrows.
It kind of the entire story is like a really long D&D campaign now that I think about it, because he's got like enchanted armor and an enchanted sword now, and he's got people in his party, but it's also set in this weird historical backdrop of the Crusades that are now happening.
Yeah.
Of like the Nation of Islam going up against the Catholic Church in like a proper war where both of which are being like supported by different mystical beings.
Yes.
Berserk is awesome. So is Kingdom Hearts. I like them both.
Yeah, they're both good. Here, you can see me changing equipment.
This is genuinely I think gear is probably one of my favorite things about JRPGs. It feels just so nice to get new gear in these kind of games, especially when it shows up on your character.
Well, yeah, it's like a steady
Hey,
drip of make
you
number
alright?
bigger.
Well, it's not only that; it's like advancement. Like you
That
read,
too,
if you
yeah.
read, like if you read any mythology, one of the biggest part is the hero getting a new sword or a new shield. You know,
Yeah,
I'm looking for
Hercules took down Medusa using the mirror shield, which had its own function. You know, he reflected her own image onto herself and forced her to look in on her own ugliness, and she turned into stone. And then he beheaded that bitch.
Did he take the head with him to stone people?
Yes.
find it.
And as he did, every drop of blood turned into
I'm
a tiny
searching
snake as
too.
it hit the ground.
Yeah.
Mythology's
Sick.
sick, man.
Yeah, Greek mythology is fucking dope.
So is Norse mythology.
It's what?
So is Norse mythology,
I
as well as Shintoism. Have you ever heard the story of Izanagi and
How about a
Izanami?
rematch
yeah,
sometime? Fair
yep,
and
I
square.
have.
No dark powers involved.
I looked into it after Persona 4 actually.
Yep.
So I'm like, I want to know the mythology behind these characters.
Something about there's a consistent theme of whenever humanity gains fire, the gods are pissed. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, and I think fire is a representation of like our independence. You know?
Independence, hope.
Yeah.
Also, that's the end of the episode.
What?
Yep. Thank you for watching.
God damn it! There's a really good conversation coming on. I guess you'll have to wait till next time, guys. See ya.
Yep.